guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fahima, and throughout this video I would like to share about my books that I've read so far in 2023 in 6 months. So there are 40 books. Without further ado, let's get into the review. Okay, so on January I read a total of 6 books. The first book that I read is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. So this is like first installment from the Dreamland Billionaire series. So there are 3 books and this is the first book I read, and I give this book a 4 stars. It tells us stories about Rowan and Zara. So Rowan is the Dreamland owner and Zara is his co-worker. There are things I don't like. It has a good ending, so I ended up giving this book a 4 stars. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. So it's a series. It's the first of the Folk of the Air series, and I love this book, guys. So there's like this stereotype about reading fantasy, like I couldn't remember the names of it, picturing like the fantasy world. This book is perfect. I give this book a 5 stars, solid 5 stars. Third book that I read is Book Lovers. It's by Emily Henry. It's like first book of her that I read, and I'm in love with her, with the book, with the writing, with the plot, with the characters. It lived up to the hype of Emily Henry, and at this point I would like eat up every book that she wrote. And then we move to It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, and these also 5 stars, you guys. Like, it has a cute cover, cartoony cover, but the smooth, like the spiciness, it's so good. I highly like this book and gave this book a 5 stars. I love the characters, the plot, and the message of the book. So good. And I moved to another romance book, Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, like a small town romance between Alexis Montgomery and Daniel. The main character, she is older than Daniel. I wouldn't have thought that I would fall in love with a guy younger than me, but Daniel, you guys, I fall in love with him. So yeah, it's 5 stars. And the last thing I read in January is 1,000 Board Kisses by Tillie. Before reading this, you have to prepare yourself to cry, like literally cry, because it's impossible not to. I would rather give this book a 4 stars rather than 5 stars because it's draining my energy. Alright, moving on to February, there are 7 books that I read in this month. The first one is Twisted Lies, so it's the 4th installment of the Twisted series by Anna Huang. So you guys, my favorite book of the series is the second one. It's Twisted Games, and I was so sad that the third book, Twisted Hate, it got me into a reading slump. I don't know why, it just didn't work for me. Like, I eventually picked the 4th book, like the last book, and it didn't disappoint. It's just so good, you guys. It's not just the spiciness but the plot. I love how the story emerged and the characters, and Christian Harper, you guys. Yeah, it's a 5 stars. Moving on, we have Terms and Conditions. It's the second book from the Dreamland Billionaires series. This book, it's so much better than the first one. I love it's sweet but not too sweet. It's hot but not too hot. Everything like fits perfectly. I love Iris, I love Declan. It's a 5 stars for me. And then we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Many people either love it or hate it. I love it. I mean, I love Naomi. I love how she handles the situation, and I love Knox. He's grumpy. He did something like make me, what? Why did you do that? But I love him. I couldn't help it. And this is a 5 stars also for me. The 10th book that I've read this February is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. So this is like series. There are 3 books in the series. As a girl who isn't used to reading mystery thriller, this is a young adult mystery thriller which I very much loved. It's so easy, it's not complicated. It will keep you guessing like who did this. So 5 stars. It's an easy and enjoyable thriller read. And then I read Stepping Up up, which I randomly grabbed at my bookstore because it's like 60% off. But I was so glad because it's literally about everything, about love, about parenthood, about the frustration of a teenager, about forgiving, about like literally stepping up. And I really hope that this book will blow out in TikTok and YouTube, so you guys read this. It's so good. 5 stars. And then I read Icebreaker, which the cover is a little bit like a scam for me because it's cute and it's cartoony, but it's so hot. I love everything about the book. There's no misunderstanding and the conflict is real. And yeah, 5 stars. And the last book that I read in February is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. It's a classic and I was like, why didn't I read this sooner? Because it's so good. I have like the stereotype about reading classic because the story happened in the different time from our time. I think it will be difficult to read, but it's so easy to read. So 5 stars. If you want to start reading classic, I recommend this book for you. Okay, moving on to the books that I've read in March. The first one is The Wicked King by Holly Black. So it's the second book of the Folk of the Earth series after reading The Cruel Prince. I can't wait reading this book and it's so much better than the first one. The conflict, like the banter is good, the development of the characters is like 5 stars, solid 5 stars. And I couldn't help continuing to read the next book of the Folk of the Year series. The happy part is, okay, I couldn't give you the happiest part because it will spoil, but the saddest part is to say goodbye to this series. Yeah, I'm so sad to finish this series. 5 stars. And then I read Alone with You in the Ether by Olivie Blake. Do not trust a love story because it's just not like a common love story that you've read. You will either love it or you will either like hate it. The writing is so poetic, the characters are so complicated. It reminds me of Normal People by Sally Rooney, but it's so much better than that. So it's a 5 stars. And then I read All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. It's about a marriage. Can a love story with a perfect beginning survive a lifetime between 2 imperfect people? So yeah, it's typical Colleen Hoover. It's so easy, it draws us to the story and it stirs up our emotion. I would give this a 4 stars. After being in love with Book Lovers by Emily Henry, I couldn't help to pick this book, Beach Read. It's very well beloved by the people and it didn't disappoint at all. It's about Augustus Everett and January. Their story are so pretty, so beautiful, and you guys will love this. 5 stars. And here comes the disappointment. I have like a huge hope for this book. It's by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, winner of the Nobel Prize. But you guys, the book is written from the second point of view, which I typically don't never read, and it's so hard for me and it nearly made me DNFing this book, but I keep trying and I didn't love this book. I felt like there was no love in this book at all. Like it didn't work for me. No. 2 stars. First disappointment of the year. It didn't get better, you guys. I love It Happened One Summer, but this book, it disappointed me. The characters, they just didn't touch me. I didn't connect with them. I didn't connect with their story, so I'm sorry. It's a 2 stars for me. And this one, A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy. I gave this book a 5 stars, and I felt wrong giving this book 5 stars because of many things happened in this book. But I enjoyed this a lot. I mean, I love them. It really made me want to read another books by Monica Murphy. 5 stars. I'm so excited for my April books because first of all, I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. This is not a romance, but it is about love. I didn't really think it's about love. It's not a romance book, it's more of a fiction book. It's about Sadie and Sam. I love them so much. I mean, they're not like a loving character, I think I hate them as characters, but the relationship between them. And it's more like the main topic of this book is about gaming, and I didn't play a game at all, but I enjoy every beat of this story. And here comes the disappointment of the month. It's Bad Me by Jennifer Crusie. I got this from a random thrift store. I want a light romance reading, and I think it's too light. It's about Mina Photobs and Calvin Morrissey. They are like 30 years-ish old, and I don't know, I feel like reading a chick lit romance, and they didn't act like their ages, and I hate it. But seeing how the writer wrapped up the story, I would kindly give this book 2 stars rather than 1 star. And then I read Monica Murphy's books. First one is 1 Week Girlfriend and Second Chance Boyfriend. I know that the covers are too provocative. Don't judge the book by the covers. They're not just as spicy as it seems. I would give them 4 stars and 4 stars. And I had a 0 expectations of this book. It's called Star of Deliverance. It's like an unknown book. I picked up this random book in a thrift store, and it's a fantasy. I immediately hooked up from the very first page. I was so surprised, it was so good. A light fantasy reading, 5 stars. And then I read a standalone novel by Holly Jackson. It's called 5 Star 5. It's her newest book. It's good. It's not as good as A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but it's worth the read. Everything in the book happened in the time of 8 hours, so it's like a young adult thriller, and it's so good. 5 Star 5 stars. I had a huge expectation on this book because I saw this everywhere in the internet, in YouTube, in TikTok, everywhere, and they all liked the book, and they are right. All true. This is a solid 5-star romance book, and I think it's one of the best romance books ever. And then I read Beyond the One by Tom Felton. I love him. I love him as Tom Felton. I love him as Draco Malfoy. And you guys, for those who love him, you have to read it. Just read it. And here comes May. I read 7 books in total. The first one is by another Emily Henry book, People We Met on Vacation. I love Emily Henry. At this rate, Emily Henry could scribble nonsense, and I would gasp in awe because she is genius, and I love her so much. 5 stars. And then I read Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. So Davy and Leon share a bed. Davy and Leon have never met. So the premise of the book is so entertaining. I had a huge expectation on this one, but I don't know. It just flat. I didn't feel like any connection between Davy and Leon. So yeah, 3 stars. And I tried to read Stephen King's book, Billy Summer. It's a thriller. It's not paranormal themed at all. It's fully thriller. I love this book, and I wouldn't imagine I'd be like crying a river over a thriller book. It's a pleasant experience, 5 stars. And then I read All He Wants by c.c.gibbs. It's an erotica book. I didn't know what's in my mind why I picked up this book. I bought this book from thrift store. Yeah, the plot is too simple. The story wasn't evolving at all. It's all about the erotic things. I would give these a 3 stars. And you guys, I read Open Water. It's a solid 5 stars. Hear me out. It used second point of view, so we are included in the story. And it's a new experience for me because I've never read a story with a second point of view, but it was so good. And then I read Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I enjoyed the first one, Things We Never Got Over, and Lucy tend to write a long book. I've never complained about it with the first book, but I think I would complain a little about this book being so long. I loved the book by the endings, but so 4 stars. And then I read the second installment of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. It's the same as this first one. I enjoyed it a lot. It's not so heavy, 5 stars, and definitely will read the third one. Okay, moving on to the last month of the first half of the year. It's been a hectic month for me, and I was so glad I managed to read 4 books in total. First one is Happy Place by Emily Henry. What to tell about her? I loved her. I loved everything about her. I loved all of her books. So this is a solid 5 stars. I'm here for it. 5 stars. And then I read a thriller book by Ashley Flowers. It's called All Good People Here, and I devoured this book, you guys. I read this book for like a couple hours. I enjoyed this. The story is so entertaining. The plot was amazing, and it's only her debut novel. I'm so excited and can't wait to read her next project. 5 stars. And then I read Ender's Game, the movie played by Asa Butterfield in 2013. And here I go with a classic review. The book is much better than the movie. If you like the book, then you have to read this first. I think what the movie lacked is they didn't tell us much about Peter, about Ender's brother. So yeah, the book, 5 stars. The movie, And then I read Priest by Simone, and I will read you guys a prologue. My name is Tyler Anselm Bell. I'm 29 years old. I have a bachelor's degree in classic languages and a master of divinity. I've been at my parish since I ordained 3 years back, and I love it here. Several months ago, I broke my vow of celibacy on the altar of my own church, and God help me, I would do it again. I am a priest, and this is my confession. Crazy. So this book contains mentions of systemic sex abuse and a sister's death by suicide. 5 stars. I felt wronged giving this book a 5 star, but I'm sorry, God. But this is a 5 star. Okay, you guys, so that's my mid-year wrap-up reading for 2023. I read a total of 40 books, so that's all my thoughts about them. So thank you for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.